And here's our weekly energy update with Dan McTeague, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy.
Hello, Julie, and great to be here for the beginning of the month of March, a month before a lot of things are going to change for Canadians in terms of energy prices, and not all of them very good news. It looks like on the global scale, as we head into the final, really the final winter season, as far as gasoline and diesel and energy prices are concerned, that markets are going to have to start to pay a little bit more attention to the demand picture. Why? Well, because Indian demand in India is up, demand in China is up, demand in the United States is up. And now we've heard from experts and analysts and money managers and hedgers that, oh, no, demand would be affected by interest rates and all sorts of other factors. Nothing could be further from the truth. And it looks like we're now starting to see the effect of denialism on the fundamentals, economic fundamentals, supply and demand, are going to start to bite. Today, we see oil rallying now at WTI over $80 a barrel, which, of course, Brent pushing above $84, $85 a barrel. We're going to be heading to $90 a barrel, probably by the mid part of April. And that's only the oil side, because we're going to also have to look at the gasoline and diesel side, which isn't very encouraging, simply because the federal government has yet in store another plan to raise your prices on a month from this time in the next 4 weeks. You'll see about a 3.5 to 4 cent a liter increase, depending if it's GST or HST and where you are in Canada with the HST. Or we will also see about a 4.2 cent increase in diesel. That'll be the product that you use for airlines, for rail, for transportation. It's the fuel that runs the economy. And when you start artificially raising that price. So assuming, of course, you're in Canada today, the average price for diesel is about $1.75. East versus west, Quebec, higher tax jurisdictions, a 4 cent increase represents a 2% hit on the inflationary cost of that product alone. So we'll wait for that to cascade through the economy. In the meantime, we've seen markets take a bit of a pullback in terms of pricing this past week, something that you wouldn't have expected, given that many refineries are going through maintenance, and that means that while demand is strong, gasoline supplies have dwindled, as have diesel. Now, just as we see this happening, we're now noticing that many refineries coming back online are going to be using a lot more oil. That's going to put a crimp on oil supplies, and that means that oil prices will go up. And one would hope a corresponding increase for gasoline and the Canadian dollar. But again, this week, we've seen the Canadian dollar this time last week was trading at about $1.3493. Now, of course, the dollar is trading at about $1.35.5. So we see constant weakness in the Canadian dollar as long as we continue to deny the fact that we need to get our resources to global markets. Is it any wonder that the big headline news now being grabbed by some in the media and some of the experts very concerned about Canada's, GDP to output to labor numbers, which are showing that we are heading that significant decline in our standard of living. So if we don't get this right and we don't start selling to the rest of the world that which they need, and we take this sort of Toronto, Montreal mentality that we can create a welfare state, then we're going to wind up in a worse situation. For now, however, we're going to be looking this week at a bit of an increase in gas prices. So British Columbia, get ready for about a 4 cent increase. Vancouver of another 5 cents. So you'd be pushing $1.93 by this time next week. Rest of BC back towards the $1.75, $1.80 range. Alberta, you've seen an increase this week of 10 cents a liter, as has Saskatchewan and Manitoba, owing to the continued tightness in supply in the U.S. Midwest, especially given that the all-important and very large BP plant in Whiting continues to be out of commission. Now, of course, this means that even if prices were to come down as a result of the refinery restarting, we're now heading towards the more expensive to make summer blends of gasoline. That comes official in Canada, second week of April, a little earlier in places like Vancouver. For Ontario, look about a 4 cent increase to about $1.53 from the $1.49 average you're seeing today. In Quebec, you're looking at always 12 cents a liter more expensive than Ontario. So we're looking at a scenario where prices will be a little closer to $1.64 to $1.66. And the Maritimes, which saw not much in the way of change of gasoline and a bit of a drop in diesel, look for that to be reversed. Next week, we'll see diesel somewhat taper off, hold where it is, but gasoline could surge 4 cents a liter. With that in mind, best bet is that for the first week of March, get ready fasten your seatbelts. Prices are going to get a lot more expensive, but make sure you come here to know where the best prices are going to be for the week ahead, and well before most other media even notice it. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that again, Julie.
Thanks for that, Dan.